Good morning, friends. It's Wednesday, the 5th of March, 2025, and it's time for your news from dinarguru.com. Newshound guru Caparoni states that notes that we hold, such as 25,000 notes, will always retain their printed value. Additionally, the exchange rate to US dollars should gradually increase based on Iraq's economic growth, referred to as an economic renaissance, and the success over time and development of their banking system. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. 3-4-2025 Intel Newshound Guru Mark Z. PDK. In Iraq, Masher Saleh, geopolitical controls push for the shift to official channels for currency trading. He is an economic advisor to Sudani, discussing the success of economic reforms. The ability to track everything now has made a significant difference. They are still contemplating raising the value of the dinar and enhancing purchasing power for every Iraqi. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Intel guru Frank 26 stated, "I'm going to tattoo 4782 on my arm." That's the Gazette number we think is hiding the new exchange rate. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. According to a news article by Newshound guru Militia Man, Goldman Sachs research predicts that gold prices will gain another 8% in 2025, reaching $3,100 per ounce. The report highlights that demand from central banks is driving the rise in gold prices, noting that Iraq has purchased 20 tons of gold this year, indicating that central banks are well informed and are adept at diversifying their assets. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. 3-4-2025 Newshound Guru. Samson article, Finance Minister at IMF meeting, we expect non-oil revenues to increase. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Sources say President Trump signed off on the RV a few days ago. These sources do not know one another, but all had the same information. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. The IMF expects Iraq's non-oil economy to continue to grow by 3.5% in 2025. This is important as Iraq relies heavily on oil sales to fund its budget, which contributes to the devaluation of the Iraqi dinar. A single situation in the oil market could potentially destabilize the entire country, as witnessed in 2019 and 2020. The generation of more non-oil revenue is crucial for their economic stability. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Intel guru Frank 26 reports that Sudani is now passing out permits for mineral rights in Iraq. He emphasizes the immeasurable wealth of Iraq, comparing it to counting the stars, mentioning resources such as oil, gas, dates produce gold, silver, titanium, and platinum. He also notes that precious metals are just one topic and states that 1310 has nothing to do with it. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Intel Newshound guru Mark Z, via PDK, stated in response to a question about the absence of auctions in Iraq since last Wednesday that he believes we are crossing the finish line. He emphasized that, according to Al-Alaq, no sanctions and transparency are essential for the monetary reforms outlined in their white papers, which aim to increase the purchasing power of the Iraqi dinar for all Iraqis and restore the rate to its former glory. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Iraq's Ministry of Oil has announced finalized oil export volumes for January, but has again not disclosed the value of oil exports for the month. Iraq has now published their oil production totals, but once again, the values have been omitted. Is this to hide the use of a new dinar valuation? Is this to prevent budget totals from being revealed? This veil of secrecy leads many to wild speculations, but only time will tell the reason for such obfuscation. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. On March 3, 2025, Newshound guru Jeff reported that there have been no currency auctions since Monday. He highlighted two critical announcements from the central bank during the year 2024: the end of dollar use and the termination of currency auctions. Last Thursday and Friday, it was noted that citizens' debit cards would no longer access US dollar cash outside Iraq, indicating a move away from the dollar. Additionally, the currency auctions are set to end with the fiscal period concluding at the end of March, and the new budget period begins on April 1st. Thus, a rate change is anticipated in March. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Iranian parliament dismisses Finance Minister Abdul Nasser Hemati after launching a no-confidence vote due to the collapse of the Toman. And this ends this report. Here is our next report from dinarguru.com. Intel guru Frank 26 addressed a question regarding whether the Vietnamese dong could appreciate before the Iraqi dinar. He expressed that at this point, he does not believe that will happen, comparing the situation to a pregnant mother who is 9.5 months along, indicating that the Iraqi dinar is nearing its expected outcome. In contrast, he noted that the Vietnamese dong is still in the early stages of its potential, suggesting they are only beginning to understand the positive developments ahead, particularly highlighting the favorable conditions with Trump in the picture for Vietnam. And that ends all the news from dinarguru.com. We hope this brings value to your day. If so, please like and subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when our reports are uploaded. Thank you for joining us and have a great Wednesday.